he did strike out twice, but he got a hit. And, Fransisco Alvarez, that's what we want from him. We want hits and we want home runs. And we want him to be great at the major league level, but I think it's going to take some time. I don't think that it is time to panic just yet. This kid is only 21 years old. He's only 21. He's very, very young. What is going on, YouTube? It is All Things Mets Media, and today's video is going to be about why it's not time to panic about Fransisco Alvarez and Baty just yet. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into the video. Guys, Baty, Fransisco Alvarez, they were raking in AAA, and they got the call up to the major leagues. And, they haven't been so great at the major leagues level. Now, Fransisco Alvarez, I don't think that the Mets were, planning on bringing Fransisco Alvarez up just yet, to the major leagues if it wasn't for that Omar Narvaez big injury. Now, Omar Narvaez is progressing, and he should be back maybe in a month and a half or something like that. But Fransisco Alvarez is an essential part to the Mets' plans, to the Mets' future. This guy's one of the best prospects in all of baseball. So listen, was it the right time to call up Fransisco Alvarez? I think they could have, called up somebody else, but they wanted to give Fransisco Alvarez, the benefit of the doubt, and they wanted to give him at bats at the major league level, and that's what's important here. You want Fransisco Alvarez to get major league experience. Last year was a cup of coffee with the Mets, you know what I'm saying, for Fransisco Alvarez and Baty. But Fransisco Alvarez last year, we know what happened with the Braves situation, and, they put him in, the deep water, and he sunk. So, he only hit one home run in 24 at-bats or something like that last year. But this year, he has 30 at-bats so far, and, only 6 hits. 1 home run, so his batting average is 167 right now. He's really, struggling at the plate. But I feel like with Major League, when he's facing Major League pitching, he's getting an understanding of the Major League pitching, the strike zone, all of that. Fransisco Alvarez is a guy that does strike out a lot. He comes with power, but he strikes out a lot. And a lot of his at-bats in the minors was like 1 for 4. 2 for 4 with 2 home runs or something like that. Fransisco Alvarez wants to hit for power. That's his main thing. Now, I love that Fransisco Alvarez has power. I don't want him to not have power. I would love for him to hit 20 home runs. I would love for him to hit, around that. I would love to have a productive catcher at the plate, because those recent years we had James McCann, Thomas Nido, these guys, they're not offensive, powerhouse catchers. So Fransisco Alvarez can be a powerhouse. He can be, a power hitting catcher. He can. But the thing is about Fransisco Alvarez is he needs to become more of a complete hitter at the plate. Now, Fransisco Alvarez has a lot of holes to his game. His plate discipline is not great, but he's been working with Eric Chavez. He's been working with the hitting coach, and he's getting better. But just in general, Fransisco Alvarez, he doesn't look so ready at the plate right now at the major league level, but you got to face major league pitching. You have to. Fransisco Alvarez, if he didn't face major league pitching, he wasn't going to be ready for the major leagues. And, it took a guy like 2 years for Jared Kelenic to, face major league pitching, and now he's raking at the major league level. So it takes time for guys. Now, some guys come up and just destroy the ball, and just are great. But Fransisco Alvarez, it just seems that he's just not one of those guys. He just wasn't ready for the major league pitching just yet. We saw that power that he had, that big home run against the Giants, to tie that game 4-4. Fransisco Alvarez has power. It's not like he doesn't. We know that Fransisco Alvarez has power, but he does have a lot of holes to his swing. The thing is, you can get him high and inside, and you can get him low and away. Throw a slider and he'll chase at it. So Fransisco Alvarez has to learn how to not chase that that ball outside, and also how to get to it. Because Fransisco Alvarez has a swing that is a power swing, but he has to learn how to be a more complete hitter and hit those pitches on the outside, not just pull the ball, but take the ball to the opposite field. He needs to learn that at the major league level. And it looks like recently he's been learning more. He's been working with the hitting coach. And last night he got one hit. He did strike out twice, but he got a hit. And, Fransisco Alvarez, that's what we want from him. We want hits and we want home runs. And we want him to be great at the major league level, but I think it's going to take some time. I don't think that it is time to panic just yet. This kid is only 21 years old. He's only 21. He's very, very young. We see Anthony Volpe struggling at the major league level, but he's getting better. Those guys are young. Fransisco Alvarez, if he doesn't work out this year, he can work out next year. So listen, we want the Mets to win now. They want to win now. And there's only one reason why Fransisco Alvarez is in the major leagues right now, and that's because of Omar Naraya's big injury, because the Mets did not have any plans to bring him to the major league level just yet in the beginning of the year. There's a reason why they put him, they didn't give him a chance in spring training. Well, he didn't perform in spring training, so they just, decided, let's put him in AAA. And, that was basically their plan the whole time, and Fransisco Alvarez didn't have a good spring training, but, he seems to be, learning major league pitching, and that is a big, big thing. Now, I love Fransisco Alvarez. I think that he has a lot of potential. I think he has a lot of, first of all, the balls that he be hitting, you see the exit velocity on those pitches it's a lot. So he hits the ball hard, but he just hasn't got the luck yet so far. But when he does hit the ball hard, we saw that he could hit that home run. We saw that he got a hit last night, so I think Fransisco Alvarez just has to learn major league pitching. I think that's really it. Because if he doesn't learn major league, if he didn't get this opportunity to learn major league pitching, then he wasn't gonna be ready. So I like that this, unfortunately, fortunately the injury, unfortunately the injury to Narvaez happened, and it gave an opportunity for Alvarez. So this guy is one of the best prospects in all of baseball. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why he's one of the best prospects in all of baseball. So we'll see what happens with Fransisco Alvarez. But let's get into Brett Baty, the third baseman for the New York Mets recently. This guy, he has 6 hits, batting average of .250. I think he has 25 at-bats on the season. But Brett Baty's is different from Fransisco Alvarez's approach. Brett Baty doesn't have that big power swing. He's just trying to hit the ball opposite field and where it's pitched. That's the difference between Brett Baty and Fransisco Alvarez. Now, Brett Baty, I think, is ready for the major leagues. I think defensively, what he did to work in the offseason with Troy Tulowitzki was a big step, and it shows a lot of initiative, for what he did. But Brett Baty was destroying the ball in AAA, and, he had a little injury scare with the thumb, but he's all better now, and he got the call up to the major leagues. And it hasn't been, the best major league debut for Brett Baty. Hasn't been the best time, but he's learning major league pitching as well. But he has gotten some hits. He got 2 RBIs. He doesn't have a home run. He doesn't have a extra base hit in the major leagues just yet. But Brett Baty is very, very talented. He has a swing that's a sweet swing. Opposite field, he can hit the ball. Opposite field, he can pull the ball. He has power. He's a big kid. It's not like he doesn't have power. So we'll see what happens with Brett Baty. But defensively, at the major league level, he looks like he's holding its own, and that's a big thing because there was a lot of concerns about Brett Baty and his defense and not being ready for the major leagues. So listen, I think Brett Baty is a very, very important piece for this team. And Brett Baty deserved to be called up. He deserved to be given a chance at the major league level because Eduardo Escobar was struggling heavily. And, we knew this was going to happen. We knew Brett Baty was going to come up in 2023. We knew this was going to happen. We just didn't know exactly when. So the fact that Eduardo Escobar struggled, it gave Brett Baty an opportunity. And listen, a batting average of .250, 6 hits, 2 RBIs. It's not like he hasn't been productive. He hasn't been tearing the ball off the ball, tearing the cover off the ball. But Brett Baty is getting better at the plate. His plate discipline is way more advanced than Fransisco Alvarez. You know, he sees the ball really, really good. But yeah, he does have, you know, some holes. He's learning major league pitching. You know, they're gonna pitch him outside and away. They're gonna pitch him, you know, down and in. They're gonna pitch him high and, you know, inside. They're gonna do these things because they have scouting reports on Brett Baty. So listen, Brett Baty's swing, like I said, is very, very sweet. I love his swing, love his opposite field approach. He doesn't need to get you a home run right away, but Brett Baty does have the power to get you a home run, man. But yeah, I think Brett Baty, Fransisco Alvarez is not the time to panic just yet. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. This has been All Things Mets Media. Yeah, man, this is where you get your latest Mets media. I'm going to, you know, be consistent with the uploads. So yeah, guys, I love you guys so much. I love GM for life. Let's go Mets, baby.